Many people tell me that they put up swarm traps every year and don't catch any swarms. So in this video, I'm going to look at 5 mistakes you may be making in your swarm trapping, keeping you from catching more swarms. Mistake number 5 is putting your swarm traps up in the wrong season. I see some people who are trying to trap swarms in the summer or in the fall, and it's possible, especially in the fall, that you could catch a swarm, but this is not swarm season. Even if you catch a swarm then, the chances of them surviving is low. So you need to put up your swarm traps at the right time, which is swarm season, and preferably a week or 2 before the swarms start flying. If you don't know when swarm season is in your area, this is in spring. To get the exact timing, it's best to talk to beekeepers in your area. Depending on the temperatures and the climate in your area, it'll be a little different, but if you connect with local beekeepers, they will tell you when the swarm season is in your area, and you want to get your traps up before this time by a week or 2 and leave them up throughout that swarm season. If you're already a beekeeper, you know this is the same time that your bees are trying to swarm. So mistake number 5 is trying to trap swarms when it's not swarm season. Mistake number 4 is not elevating your swarm traps. It is possible to catch swarm traps with traps sitting on the ground even, but this is not what is best because this isn't what bees do in nature. Dr. Tom Seeley's research discovered that the vast majority of natural colony entrances are over 15 feet high. So it's best if you elevate your swarm traps, do it safely, but put them 10 to 15 feet in the air hanging from a tree. Stable is the best place and best way to increase your chances of catching swarms. So mistake number 4 is not elevating your swarm traps like the bees are looking for in nature. Mistake number 3 is not using an attractant. You are just one site of many the bees might be looking at, so putting in an attractant can really make your trap stick out. What do we have for attractants? One is brood comb. If you're a new beekeeper and you don't have old brood comb, again, contact local beekeepers. There's some beekeepers that will be culling old comb from their colonies, and this will work for you for your swarm traps. In addition to old comb, or if you can't get old comb especially, the second attractant you want to add to your swarm trap is a swarm lure, one that mimics the Nasanov pheromone that the swarms use to find that home site. Our personal preference is a lure we developed called Swarm Science, and this mimics the Nasanov pheromone and will help draw more swarms to your swarm trap. The second biggest mistake swarm trappers make is not putting frames inside of their traps. This doesn't change whether you'll attract swarms or not, but it'll greatly change the amount of work you have to do once you do get a swarm. There are commercially available round, almost bucket-looking swarm traps. I've seen many people that make swarm traps out of 5-gallon buckets because they're cheap and easy, and I understand that. But if you don't put frames inside of your swarm traps, what you'll end up with is a mess. It'll cost you time, and this new colony of yours, it'll cost them energy. So the second biggest mistake swarm trappers make is not putting frames inside of their traps. Frames allow those bees that are in a prime wax-making state to put their energy into making comb that you can use once you remove this swarm. Don't waste that energy by putting up a swarm trap that doesn't have frames. Whether they're frames with a starter strip or frames with foundation, however you choose to do it, put frames in your swarm trap so that you can save your time and also save this new colony's time and energy that they put into building comb. And the number 1 mistake swarm trappers make is using too small of a swarm trap. It's very convenient to use a 5-frame nuke or a corrugated plastic one you may have gotten when you purchased a nuke. They're convenient, they're pretty lightweight, transportable, and we've all kept colonies in this 5-frame deep nuke box, so it seems like, why couldn't we get a swarm? Extensive studies by Dr. Tom Seeley finds that this is too small. Is it possible? Yes. Are you going to catch as many swarms as you should? No. What you want is, his study found, about 47 liters of space. So what is that? That is very close to a deep box or a double 5-frame nuke box. A single is about half the amount of space you need. So even though it's convenient to use that nuke box you bought your first nuke in, or a small nuke box like this, it is not the best home site for bees, and you will miss out on many, many swarms. So the number 1 mistake is using too small of a swarm trap. Use a deep or double these up, make it a 5/5. Yes, it's heavier, it's a little harder to hang, but you will catch more swarms if you have the right amount of space. If you're making any of these mistakes, a few adjustments in your swarm trapping, and hopefully this season will be the best season you've had swarm trapping. If you think there's other common mistakes swarm trappers make, I'd love if you'd share in the comments and let me know what they are. And happy trapping, everyone.